You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Fafalius, and I'm the producer of Krista Makes a Podcast and the host of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
And I'm Matt Kelly, host of Horror Movie Night and the producer / the head of content for the Geekscape Podcasting Network.
Between the two of us, we have, believe it or not, 25 years of podcasting experience, and we want to help you start your own podcast.
We know podcasting, and we want to share that knowledge with you.
So whether you're new to podcasting or you want some feedback on your currently active podcast, we want to help.
Or perhaps you're just overwhelmed with all of the editing work. Well, we can help you with that also.
You can check out our website at weknowpodcasting.com for more information.
We're excited to help your podcasting dreams become a reality.
Stop it. In 1993, indie darlings Pavement had an unexpected top 10 modern rock hit with Cut Your Hair. During their brief time in the spotlight, they had a beef with Billy Corgan, got kicked off a music festival, and experienced inter-band feuding that led to their breakup before the end of the 90s. Regardless of any turmoil, they made a fan out of Steve Soboslai, who joins us to discuss why he loves Pavement and their most well-known song.
One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed, and you can live off royalties forever. And it makes me wonder, is it just a blunder, or is it one hit thunder?
All right, Steve, I think this is pretty questionable that you're calling this song a hit.
What are you going to do? I asked if I could do this song, and I looked to you and producer Matt to see if I could do the song, and you guys greenlit it.
Yeah, I'm going to blame Matt. I'm going to blame Matt for allowing you to talk about Pavement. I know I know that you're psyched to talk about Pavement. I feel like this has been, I wouldn't call it a point of contention between us necessarily, but maybe, whereas you and I agree on a lot of music, I think Pavement, just from even back in the day, from high school days, I don't think we saw eye to eye on Pavement. So, but you're a big fan. You're like influenced by Pavement.
I would say that I am.
So talk about why you like Pavement.
I didn't get into punk rock initially, but was more into the grunge and alternative music of the time. And I mean, it's basically that I was friends with PJ and Matt, and they listened to Pavement, and I got really into them. I don't think I would have gotten into them so much later on because they are kind of a lazy, sloppy style. But man, I just love it. I love it so much.
That is my issue with them.
Right.
The fact that they sound so lazy, and sometimes is there a lot of wrong notes in the songs and things?
Plenty.
Is that intentional, done by musicians knowing that they're doing that, or are they just not that good? And is that a reflection of that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think a lot of times I was reading about the making of Crooked Rain, the album that Cut Your Hair is on, and they were definitely trying to just capture the spirit of certain takes and not being super precious with it. But the way that the album was mixed, the guy who mixed the album was instrumental in sorting through all of the crazy, rough takes and kind of piecing the album together.
Okay, well, I wouldn't have even known that this was their hit that you're calling it their hit.
It's their biggest song.
I guess because it was on Beavis and Butthead or something.
This was a top 10 hit on the modern rock charts.
Okay.
It hit number 10.
All right. Okay. I stand corrected. I would have thought maybe Stereo, too.
Right.
The song Stereo, which is my favorite Pavement song.
Right.
I will say, is not that big a fan of Pavement. I don't hate them, but I'm really like, and what's funny is I like all the periphery bands of that time. Anybody else that was on 120 Minutes and was in that world, I like, and I don't know what it is about Pavement that doesn't cut it for me, but Cut Your Hair and Stereo, I'll give them credit for those songs. They're great.
What it sounds like is that when Crooked Rain came out, that Pavement was still in the window of the Nirvana grunge hype, and they really got a big push on that album, and it really caught on. But I think by the time that Brighten the Corners, which had Stereo on it 2 albums later, I think they were back to being more of like a big indie band. But Crooked Rain, they like got some mainstream attention for it.
Right. You know, I don't know if this is the end all be all of what's good and what's not, but Rolling Stone did name this one of their 500 greatest albums of all time. So
I think there's another list that's the 500 songs of all time, and Pavement has 3 songs on it. And the guys from Pavement said that 2 of them have to be the worst selling, most unsuccessful songs on the list.
yeah, but no doubt they're indie darlings. They're apparently critic darlings as well. And my lukewarm opinion of them doesn't really matter. We could talk about this song, though, a little bit.
Let's.
Is this one of your favorite Pavement songs? Or is it like, oh, that's the hit? I don't care about that song as much.
I think this was probably the song that pulled me in for sure. It's got the catchy oohs, and my first band played it.
Okay, that helps.
Yeah, so we played it. There were parts that we didn't know how to play, so we skipped those parts. Like, I don't think we did like the bridge and the guitar solo. We just kind of did our own version of it.
It's definitely got cool, fun lyrics to sing along to with your friends. If you're having a good time and the song comes on, it's fun to sing along. Definitely unique lyrics. I'll give them credit for that.
It has more of a lyric concept than a lot of Pavement songs. A lot of Pavement songs are
Gibberish.
yeah, scrambled eggs, as they say.
Yeah, I guess this song is pretty literal. Darling, don't you go and cut your hair. Do you think it's going to make him change? I'm just the boy with the new haircut, and that's a pretty nice haircut. This song seems very 90s to me because hair, that 90s hair, whether it's shoulder length or whatever it is, I feel like I almost remember that transition from what everybody having that shoulder length alternative hair and then getting their haircuts. I think of our friend PJ as one of those people.
Right.
Like, well, he's had every hairstyle, but you know, I think about this is our era, our high school era, and there you did see that change,
right?
You know, so that's kind of cool about this song.
Everybody, if you're listening, we're talking about PJ a lot. Go check out PJ.
Yeah.
Do you also think, similar to a different Steve pick with Super Drag, that the lyrics are also metaphorical for like how they perceive being a band in the music industry? Because the second verse is all about like the drummer and the music scene and stuff like that.
That's funny. They're pretty similar topics. Yeah.
So it's commentary on, and it's funny too because there's another. I feel like there's a lot of commentary on the music industry songs in the 90s because you had that whole. I mean, I guess I think of it as when it comes to like punk rock and of course ska in the 90s or whatever. But I guess it also is this part of this indie rock and alternative scene was the things about selling out, you know, like people were so concerned about that. Doesn't really seem to be a concern to anyone anymore.
I feel like it is like a little bit now, but there was a time where it definitely went out the window in the mid 2000s and like no one cared about selling. Like selling out was cool. Like I want an iPhone. I want to sell out. I want to be on a commercial.
Right. And I still don't like selling out, but to me, selling out means changing your style to whatever's popular at that moment.
Right.
Not getting paid. I mean, if you're great and you get paid and you're making true music that's authentic to you, then who am I to say anything about that, you know, especially if people love it.
Remember that Lars Ulrich Metallica quote about selling out?
Yeah.
He goes, selling out? Yeah, we sell out every night.
Every seat in the house, every night. And those of you listening didn't see, but you also have to do a little pushing the bottom of your fist into your other hand. Every seat in the house, every night.
Is that kind of like the quote that you bring up a lot that Robin from the Gin Blossoms gave you about the only difference between you guys and Punch, you guys and him?
Yeah, that's one of the all-time best things anyone ever said to me. I'm sure people have already heard me say it, but you know, Steve and I play in Punchline, and we did one of the last tours we did was with the Gin Blossoms, and at the end of it, really thanking him for taking us out. It was an awesome tour.
He's so sweet.
Yeah, such a nice guy. And he said to me, hey, man, The only difference between your band and my band is that we've sold millions and millions of albums. I'm like, that's awesome. And then he turned around, walked on the bus, and we left. And that was the end of it. But yeah, when it comes to Pavement, this is a good jam. I'll give it up for this jam. I don't know whether to consider it a hit, but that's neither here nor there. I do want to talk about something with Pavement that I think is an interesting, as we get deeper into it. I know that you love this song, Range Life, which I can take or leave that song.
You've probably heard it 1,000 times.
I've heard it a lot in the van and stuff over the years. You and some other friends seem to really love it. I'm like, this, once again, this sounds like the laziest, sloppiest music. And I just, not that I want something to be SR-71 either, obviously. I don't want something that sounds like it's made by computers, but I like that in between, that the realness but also I like precision performance, I guess you would say.
Who do you like, Yo-Yo Ma?
I love Yo-Yo Ma. I just listened to Yo-Yo Ma on Marin recently. He was great. He was cool. He was interesting. Anyway, this song Range Life, it became a little bit of a controversy. I don't know if you know about this controversy behind that song.
Oh, I do, but I think you know more.
So he made comments about, both Smashing Pumpkins and Stone Temple Pilots. He says something or other about them, but I'll read you the lyrics. I think they're like this. They're later in the song.
Right.
It's like the last verse or something.
So the context is this is the early 90s. Pavement was in the Lollapalooza alternative scene. Smashing Pumpkins had blown up the year before, and Stone Temple Pilots also in the same time frame.
Okay, so in the song it says, out on tour with Smashing Pumpkins, nature kids, they don't have no function. I don't understand what they mean. And I could really give a fuck. Stone Temple Pilots, they're elegant bachelors. They're foxy to me. Are they foxy to you? I will agree they deserve absolutely nothing. Nothing more than me. I mean, it's pretty funny to just call out these bands, but if I were Smashing Pumpkins, I'd be like, nature kids? We don't have a function? I don't understand what they mean, and I could really give a fuck. So it's not that bad. What do you interpret this as meaning?
Well, at the time when they made the album, they were kind of nothing. They had some buzz about them, but they were certainly not in the league of Smashing Pumpkins. But then they got so much hype from this album that, by the time it reached the bands that were mentioned, Pavement was a big band, so it kind of was probably a little more offensive, and then they're in the same touring scene and whatnot. But I believe Steve Malkmus, the singer who wrote the lyrics, said that he did it pretty quickly and just thought it was kind of funny and kind of cheeky and kind of cocky, but not in a serious way.
I had also read that he said that the song's supposed to be from a character perspective. So I think of those lyrics from the same way as the Dead Milkman Stewart or Money for Nothing, where it's supposed to be from the perspective of some aged rocker just bitching about the current modern music scene. And when you read those lyrics, it's I could see a 55-year-old guy being I don't know, Stone Temple Pilots, they seem like elegant bachelors.
Yeah, I mean, Stone Temple Pilots did not get mad about it. I've never heard anything about that. Billy Corgan, on the other hand, got so mad that he got Pavement kicked off of Lollapalooza.
Damn.
Held that grudge for up until 2018. And then Smashing Pumpkins took Pavement on tour.
Wow.
And I read the weirdest Brooklyn Vegan article where it was an interview with both Billy Corgan and Steve Malkmus in it was before that tour happened, where Billy Corgan was very it seemed like he was super passive aggressive. He's yeah, we're taking them out, and he was kind of hyping himself up, we're trying to move past things and whatever. But he insisted that Pavement has to play Range Life, that they put that in the contract, and that if he wanted to, Billy Corgan would get to write a verse and come out and play it. I tried to find if that actually happened, but also within the article.
Was it the 2018 tour, did you say?
The article was from 2018. I think maybe the tour was the next year.
The number you have reached is 100.7 WMMS.
It wasn't just a radio station, it was a lifestyle.
Cleveland is a rock and roll city for sure.
Get down! The Wrath of the Buzzard. WMMS. Cleveland.
The rise and fall of one of the most iconic radio stations in America. Profiles, The Wrath of the Buzzard, PROH Files. Subscribe now wherever you get podcasts.
Hey there, I am Johnny Christ from Avenged Sevenfold, and I've got a podcast called Drinks with Johnny you're going to want to check out. I sit down with a bunch of different people from all different walks of life, from professional wrestlers to actors, comedians, fighters, musicians, everything in between. I'm just looking to make some friends and have a good time doing it. So if that sounds like something you're into, go check out Drinks with Johnny, streaming everywhere now.
Within the article, it was like, at some point, Billy Corgan, like, ruffled Steve Malkmus's hair, and Steve Malkmus seemed very Steve Malkmus in this interview, like, very, I mean, I was reading it, but it seemed very, like, monotone, like, point blank answers. It seemed weird to me, but apparently they've buried the hatchet since then.
That's funny because I think otherwise that would have been probably a pretty inconsequential song, maybe a fan favorite, but not gotten the light that it has.
Right. I did know about that, and I don't know, man. Smashing Pumpkins versus Pavement. Who you got?
I think I'm gonna go with Pavement. I mean, it's real. Like when they were making this album, so the story was that they had some success and they were like a little grungier, and their old stuff was really a lot fuzzier, post-punk sounding, because their drummer at the time was a little bit older. So they're all in their early to mid 20s, and then their drummer was in his early 40s, but he recorded them and like taught them a lot about how to be a band. But he kind of fell apart, had a drinking problem. He wanted to cash in at the point that they were just starting to get some buzz, and you know, they say in interviews that they were in a different place than this guy at the time. Just, you know, he wanted to have money to pay for health insurance, and they're like, we're in our early 20s. Like, why would you ever pay for health insurance? Like, why is that important to you? So this guy quit, and they were kind of scared because he had, you know, was their drummer and also the producer and, you know, pretty instrumental in the band, but they decided to move forward, and they found some studio in New York of a guy that they knew who would let them come and record in the studio for really cheap. And so they virtually, it was like 2 or 3 of the guys in Pavement engineered the album themselves to tape, and then, like I was saying, the producer came in and put it together. But the studio was around Madison Square Garden, where we, like, sounds like within a block of where we recorded 37 Everywhere,
nice.
which I think is kind of cool. I just imagine that 2 guys who, they said that they were like so carefree making these songs because they weren't famous yet. There wasn't much that they had to live up to. And they went and they spent some time writing before they went into the studio. And it was the kind of thing where, like, they're together for a weekend and Malkmus comes in and was like, hey, do you guys like this song? And they're like, that's amazing. And then comes back half an hour like, how about this one? They're like, yep. And that's just, hearing that stuff sounds so cool. Like, he just sounds like a very prolific songwriter and just has, you know, big ideas, man. But imagine those guys making that album and talking some shit on Smashing Pumpkins and Stone Temple Pilots at a time where if Smashing Pumpkins heard them then, they would be like, why do I care what this, like, little band who's
right
cares? But I think that's so cool.
That makes sense. But he says the lyric is out on tour with Smashing Pumpkins, though. Do you think he was just pretending they were out on tour with them?
mean, I guess, okay, that's right. We should probably probably look that up.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But what I do like about what you're saying is the idea. It makes me want to do it. I mean, I guess it's a matter of having a place and having the stuff set up. But to be like, to go into a place with your band and be like, we're gonna write and record our album right now. Don't bring anything you had before or whatever.
Right.
Start from scratch, like off the top of your head, and see what comes out. That'd be pretty fun, I think. That's on the to-do list at some point.
Nice.
Whatever that album is. If it sucks, you don't got to put it out. You can just keep it for yourselves, right? I mean, but that'd be a fun challenge for a band that's been around for a while. Anyway, I would go with Smashing Pumpkins, and I'm not even like some huge Smashing Pumpkins fan, but dude, 1979.
It's so good.
It's so good. Today is so good. Oh, tonight, so good. Like, these songs, like, they're pretty epic.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the epic compositions over Pavement's lazy ass wrong notes.
What about Cursive's wrong notes? I know you like Cursive.
a whole different thing. Yeah, I mean, I wish Cursive had a hit so we could talk about it. That band's incredible.
We could probably make a hit out of them if we're doing.
Yeah, you think? What songs a hit for them?
Played on Letterman, is that a hit?
Yeah, they did play that song on Letterman. Yeah, I love that band. So this song, okay, as Matt said, it peaked at number 10 on the alternative charts May 7th, 1994. So yeah, I guess that's a hit.
Right.
I guess that's a hit. At the time on those charts, the number one song, funny enough, was The More You Ignore Me, The Closer I Get by Morrissey, which, speaking of Beavis and Butthead again, I knew that song because of Beavis and Butthead. Hated it. I was like, this is the worst, whiniest, stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. As I got older, I came back around to it. I'm like, oh, I get it. It's like this sort of gothy British emotional music and kind of like some Smith songs and like, okay, I get it. And then turns out Morrissey's kind of a racist asshole. So that really sucks. I was like, okay, well, any little bit I liked of Morrissey, I don't really like him anymore. Also at that time on the charts were, here you go, Steve, one of your favorites, Selling the Drama by Live.
Nice.
Steve's a big fan of.
This is 94.
The Juice.
This is 1994?
Yeah. We're all about 1994.
What a year.
Lucchini's Juice. That was probably the year of Lucchini's Juice. And also Longview by Green Day was on the charts at this time. So then in 1999, Pavement kind of called it quits for a while. Internal conflict within the band caused that. And they popped up throughout the what do you call the 2010 to 20?
Some people call it the aughts.
No, that's what you call 2000 to 2010.
Oh, well, what do you call that?
The teen? I mean, it's not all teens, though.
And which teens do you mean?
Yeah, we're probably talking about the more recent teens.
I've always wanted to throw an 80s dance party, but then you show up as an 1880s dance party.
Yeah. The 2010s or whatever. My point being, Pavement got together a few times throughout the 2010s and played some festivals. Legacy of the song, Cut Your Hair. It's been featured in every stupid movie. I don't know why. Like, you would think that this indie band with all this cred would be in some, like, serious...
The soundtracks it's on are pretty funny.
Jackass 2, a very Brady sequel, You, Me, and Dupree, and Beavis and Butthead.
Nice.
But I guess it's... And I guarantee you every time it's just... I gotta give it up for that. I do like that.
So I did some Googling. So there's a few different phrases for 2010 to 2020. Okay. There's the 2010s, like you said. Sometimes it's just called the tens, and sometimes it's called the teens or the teensies.
The teensies.
I think the teensies is the one I'm going with.
I'll go with the teensies.
Yeah, that feels natural.
Yeah, back in the teensies, which. Yeah, it's crazy to say that now. I mean, we're recording this episode in the year 2021. Future person who's listening to this in 2040 or something. But yeah, we're out of that decade. We're on to the next one. We're in the 20s now.
Right.
That's the first time I'm recognizing that out loud, that the teens are over. The teensies are gone.
The teensies had a rough finish, so I think that's why.
Yeah. Or the 20s had a rough start. However you want to look at it.
Yeah, the end of the teensies was kind of the golden age.
Yeah. No, the last 4 years of the teensies sucked. But the beginning of the teens, dude, the early teensies, in the early teensies, Thursday night on TV was Community, The Office, Parks and Rec, 30 Rock. Like,
wow.
The early teensies rocked.
Let's go back to the lyrics.
Okay. So, darling, don't you go and cut your hair. Do you think it's going to make him change? I'm just a boy with a new haircut. And that's a pretty nice haircut. Charge it like a puzzle. Hit me wearing muzzles. Hesitate to die. Look around. The second drummer's drowned. His telephone is found. What does this mean?
I think it's probably a fair amount of gibberish.
Yeah.
Pavement's the kind of band where you go back and listen to their demos or live recordings. There's frequently words changed.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about, I don't know if you want to call it the cadence or the way the words spill out of your mouth that sound cool, that if you're changing them to make sense, yeah, if you change charge it like a puzzle, hit me wearing muzzles, what are you going to find to replace that?
Right. And it is cool to take note of how these crazy lyrics, like I still love the song and it doesn't ruin the song concept or something.
No, I mean, they're fun to sing along to. Music scene is crazy. Bands start up each and every day. I saw another one just the other day, a special new band. I remember lying. I don't remember lies. I don't remember what, but I don't care. That's some lazy ass lyrics. Oh my God. I care. I really don't care. Did you see the drummer's hair? Advertising looks and chops a must. No big hair. That's pretty funny. Songs mean a lot when songs are bought, and so are you. Bitch, rant down to the practice room. Attention and fame. So career. Which is funny because up until probably right now reading this.
You thought I said Korea?
Yeah. Always thought it was a shout out to Korea, but apparently it's career. Which, okay, I read these. I kind of get it. And I do get the appeal of sloppy off the top of your head avant-garde lyrics because I know that they're fun to sing along to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I get it. I don't know. You have any closing notes on Pavement before we?
I'm trying to think if we covered the big picture things. Year it came out, 1994. It was on the album Crooked Rain, and the song reached the top 10, making it a bona fide one-hit wonder.
Yeah,
absolutely thunder.
So I know you're going with Thunder. I guess I like the song. I guess I'll go with Thunder. I know that in the band has like maybe two other songs I like. They're a long running, well, kind of. They're a beloved indie band, which I like that. I like a lot of things about them. I just wish I liked the music more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's just taste. I'll take Pavement over some like overproduced pop punk band any day.
Right.
You know, like
right.
Or some like, you know, or some 90s band, you know, like I definitely think Pavement's cool. I think everything's about them is cool, and it seems like a lot of cool people like them. Maybe I'm just not cool enough for Pavement or something.
To each his peach.
To each his Pavement.
Picking myself off the concrete floor. Yeah, I've been drinking since 4:04.
This has been One Hit Thunder. One Hit Thunder is hosted by Chris Fafalios of the bands Punchline Pack and Another Cheetah, and produced by Matt Kelly of Geekscape.net. Underneath me, you're hearing A Friend Indeed off the most recent Punchline release, Lion. Go to punchlion.com for more info, as well as merch and news of future shows. If you have any interest in podcasting, visit weknowpodcasting.com for how Chris and I can help your show sound as professional as possible. And let us know your thoughts on our show by emailing us at onehitthunderpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app. And tune in next week for another episode of One Hit Thunder.
Your voice is like a cheat sheet, now I'm passing every test. Yeah, your words are like a pillow, put my worries on the rest. Yeah, you're a godsend, and you're my best friend, and I'm so thankful to you. Yeah, you make me feel so normal when I'm feeling like a freak, and you help me up the staircase when my legs are feeling.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
The number you have reached is 100.7 WMMS.
It wasn't just a radio station, it was a lifestyle.
Cleveland is a rock and roll city for sure.
Yeah! Down! The Wrath of the Buzzard. WMMS. Cleveland.
The rise and fall of one of the most iconic radio stations in America. Profiles, The Wrath of the Buzzard. PROH Files. Subscribe now wherever you get podcasts.
What's up, everybody? I am Finn McKenty, host of the Punk Rock NBA podcast, part of the Sound Talent Media podcast network. My podcast is all about doing what you love for a living, and every week I sit down and talk to people who have done exactly that. For example, musicians like Tommy from Between the Buried and Me, Matt from Periphery, Lil Lotus and Shinigami, among many others, photographers, artists, designers, YouTubers like Glenn Fricker and Sarah Dici, and I unpack exactly how they got to where they are today with the goal of helping you do the same. So if that sounds cool, you can listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com, and I'll see you there.